It's hard to believe that just 2 weeks ago, this grass was covered with snow. We had a freak early snowstorm that caught us all off guard. Of course, true to Wyoming fashion, we are back up to 85 degrees, the skies are sunny, the grass is green, but the garden took quite the beating and our growing season ended very abruptly. So I've decided to turn lemons into lemonade, and I'm going to be planting some fall crops, as well as some cover crops to give me a head start for next year. Thankfully, I did have time to pull out some of the more cold-sensitive vegetables like the tomatoes and peppers. They're all in the house now. And there are a few things that survived the freeze, like the chard and the root crops. But I'm going to take advantage of this time to put in some cover crops that will hopefully give me a head start with my soil and help me improve some of the problems that I've been having. The beds here in the back of the garden have a really heavy clay soil, so I want to plant some winter rye here to help break things up. First things first, I need to clear out all of the old debris. This bed had some butternut squash that didn't do so hot this year, so I'm pulling out all of those dead vines. This is the only time you will see me standing in my raised beds. I'm very, very careful to not compact the soil, but it really needs to be worked up before I'm able to put any seeds on top. You can see how tough it is. It's gotten better over the years with a lot of additions of compost and mulch, but we've got a long ways to go. I want to break up some of these clods before I broadcast this rye seed on top. And yes, I somehow lost one of my gloves in this process, so down to just one glove at this point. I chose rye as a cover crop for a couple of reasons. Primarily though, it's because it's supposed to really help with clay soil because it sends down such deep roots. It's also one that does well with super cold weather, and I'm getting this in pretty late for our zone, so I figured that rye would have the best chance of germinating and getting a little growth before our weather permanently turns cold. So I'm just gonna broadcast the seed over the top, give it a little bit of water, and cross my fingers. One of the things I love about homestead life is that if you're willing to think outside the box, you can really prevent a lot of waste. And so that's one of the reasons we love to keep pigs. Not only do they give us bacon, of course, but they also happily eat whatever we send their way, whether it's kitchen scraps or garden waste. They make sure that everything has a use. I want to take you back and show you our latest project that we just barely completed. It's something we've been talking about for a really long time. It took us a long time to figure out what we wanted to do exactly, but it's finally done. Well, almost. You guessed it, the greenhouse is finally done, and I'm really, really excited for it. So it took us quite a while to figure out what we wanted to do. We had to figure out a kit that would be strong enough for the Wyoming wind and hail. And we also went back and forth on the size. We ultimately went with this bigger model because we have grand aspirations of someday turning it into some sort of commercial greenhouse project. But we wanted to give ourselves plenty of room in the meantime. Right now it's not fancy on the inside. I literally planted the day Christian finished construction, but hopefully this spring will make it a little bit prettier. We want to put some pavers or gravel on each end to give ourselves a walk space, maybe put a little table and chairs I just want to make it beautiful, but that has to come next year. Right now, we're all about getting the fall crops in as soon as possible. Because we got such a late start in planting, because let's face it, the greenhouse wasn't done yet, I stuck with hardy greens to plant inside. I chose things like mizuna, which is a type of mustard, spinach, arugula, mosh, a little bit of lettuce, and some endive. I don't exactly know what is going to work and what isn't since it's our first year, but I decided just to try a variety of things and see how it goes. The goal is that these will get enough growth on them that we can continue to harvest them well into the winter before they completely go dormant. We'll see how it goes. All in all, I think I'm pretty happy with how our garden season went this past year. We definitely had some wins and some fails, but I'm feeling really energized after a little bit of a break to start again next year, and I'm excited to see how we can extend our season with the greenhouse. And even though the snow made me really mad when it first hit, I think it's all working out well. It's giving me a little more time to explore some later season crops. So, you know what? Everything always works out in the end.